Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold, evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd, please. For tonight's show, we are talking about on the podcast the topic for the month, which is movies where actors are known or unknown or mostly unknown. And tonight's movie is John's pick, which is Black Hawk Down, the 2001 war movie directed and produced by Ridley Scott and co-produced by Jerry Bruckheimer from a screenplay by Ken Nolan. It is based upon the 1999 nonfiction book of the same name about the U.S. military's 1993 raid in Mogadishu, starring many good people: Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor, Tom Sizemore, Eric Bana, William Fichtner, Ewan Bremer, Sam Shepard, Tom Hardy, Orlando Bloom, Jason Isaacs, Ty Burrell, Jeremy Piven, and many more. Let's talk about this movie, guys. What do you guys think about Black Hawk Down?
Does Tom Sizemore play the same character in every movie he's in?
Yeah, I feel like he does.
Or just like, hey, you know what you did in Saving Private Ryan? Just be that guy again.
Wasn't he? Oh, what was the other war movie he was in? Wasn't he in a different war movie on top of that?
Yeah,
Saving
maybe.
Private Ryan?
Yeah, he's... Well, no, I don't think he was in another... The Relic is what he was
The
in.
Relic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fantastic actor. Every time I ever see him in it, it's great. He's a good watch. I do have a question though. Which one of these are the mostly or new or mostly new? I can name a couple. I know Orlando Bloom is. This is like his second movie.
Short stint in that film. It's like, okay,
short
you got a couple of scenes, and then you need to just lay there.
Fall out of the you fall out of a helicopter.
Oh, but I mean,
so
there's Tom Hardy here.
Yeah, I don't know that I count Ian McGregor because I'd forgotten about Train Spotting.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that Train Spotting came earlier. I think, well, and then I think even Episode 1 came earlier. Yeah, Episode 1 came before. I don't count Ian McGregor. He's the one I was thinking of when I thought about it. But Josh Hartnett, I believe, and then Orlando Bloom with
This is Tom Hardy's first movie, dude.
That was Tom Hardy's first movie. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's his first. I'm looking at his filmography right now. It is his first movie, and then he did this one, another movie called Deserter, and then he did Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked Nemesis too.
Yeah, it's not a real popular one amongst a lot of people, but honestly, I enjoy it. I watched it the other day and I like it. I know overall it's a great movie. Does it have some shortcomings? Great, yes, it does. Yeah. But overall, it's a good movie. It's a pretty solid one.
I really like Eric Bana in this film a lot.
This is one of my favorite parts he plays because he plays a lot of very serious roles. Mm-hmm. And yes, this is very serious of Eric Bana, but he's kind of got an edge to him that I really like. It's not so much more of like I'm thinking more of like his character in The Hulk, where he was just always like grumbly and always just kind of grumpy and angry. I liked this version of him. It just shows me that he does have different elements to him.
Yeah.
So, that's what I really liked about him. And, especially that part at the very end, I really liked that. I literally got done watching this movie 30 minutes ago. So, just kind of how my day went. And, I started and stopped like 3 times, but, this part at the very end where he's talking about, why does he do it? Why is he going back into the war? Why does he do it? And I like this, the comment that he was making was, it's because it's the guy next to you, but I liked his portrayal of it, of how it kind of just showed a different side of his acting than he, shows normally. And that whole speech, I just like that from him. It shows that he has range. I guess that's the word I'm really trying to go for. Whereas a lot of movies, it seems like you get a lot of Eric Bana of the same character again, like he was in The Incredible, or no, just Hulk, not Incredible Hulk. There's a couple of people that also surprised me in here that, who is an actor that I really like when I see him. And I don't know his name, but then I made sure to find it out because every time I see him, I'm like, I like him a lot. William Fincher.
Yeah.
Dude, he's great.
I really enjoy him too. And he does a really good
Which
job.
one is William Fincher?
He's the other Delta operator.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He plays another movie I really like him in is Equilibrium. He's kind of like the leader of the sect that's trying to, the underground sect.
Is he the same guy?
What's that?
Is he the same guy that's the like bank guy at the beginning of Nolan Ryan's The Dark Knight?
I don't know if he's in The Dark Knight. I'm looking right now to see if he's in The Dark Knight. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes.
The opening scene. Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
You know
dude.
whose money this is?
Yeah, exactly. Interesting.
Yeah. That is him. He's in Elysium.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a lot of really good movies.
It's unfortunate because I feel like a little bit he's always the bridesmaid and never the bride in these films. Like I want him to have more of a leading role sometimes.
I agree, and that's why I'm bringing forth his name, because I see him and I'm like, dude, he's a great actor. I love it every time I see him.
I mean, maybe he's taking the roles he wants. Maybe he's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not the one to control his destiny.
I'm not sure he's had an unsuccessful career.
I don't. And I'm not saying he hasn't had I'm not saying he hasn't had success. I would like to see him play more starring roles.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
That's fair.
Just more screen time in the film. I want to see more of his range, more of what he can do, and
that's why I like him if you watch Equilibrium. He's got a big part on the second half of Equilibrium. And,
that's true.
He plays a fantastic role in that movie, as their leader. So, but there was a couple people that kind of stuck out here that I didn't even. I was watching the movie and I'm like, holy crap, there's that person. I know him.
You had JHoN Grufford in here too.
Yes, that was going to point him out too. I was like shocked to see him there too.
He was playing a jerk character.
Yeah.
It was a really racist character. But the first time I ever saw JHoN Grufford was in Horatio Hornblower on the A&E channel.
Oh,
because I love 18th century naval warfare, and so like I ate up the Horatio Hornblower books and watched the series when it became a thing on A&E.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely loved him in that. That was the first time I saw him, and then of course he's in
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, yeah.
That's how I know him. I know him as from the Fantastic Four. That's really kind of it.
And 102 Dalmatians. Don't forget about 102 Dalmatians.
Oh, how could I forget about that?
My kid watches it all the freaking time. Oh.
I think I've seen it once.
Oh, and I didn't know this. He voices the Necromancer in Diablo 3.
Oh, wow. It's amazing how many of these actors do video game voices.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. But no, they had an all-star cast.
This is a fantastic cast. I mean, there is nobody here that, didn't play a good role. And even some of the lower, unknown kind of people, a little bit. I really liked the guy who lost his hearing. I thought he was funny. I thought he played a good role.
That was Ian McGregor.
No,
it wasn't.
Then who lost his
hearing?
I'm
trying to find his name.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right.
Ewan Bremer is his name in real life.
Okay, yeah. The guy that's had the gun going off right next to his ears.
Yes, that guy.
Yes, okay. I was thinking of Ian McGregor when he got blown up, basically.
Oh, no.
And it has that movie effect of the ringing ears and stuff. So that's what I immediately went to.
That was a cool scene, though. By the way, that was a cool scene with that RPG and him running out there, because I was, it'd been a while since I seen this movie, and I kept wondering what are they going to do with Ewan McGregor? He keeps kind of just being kind of a little bit to the side, and
I love
that scene kind of made up for it.
I love the scene with him and William Fichtner, and Fichtner's like, don't stand close to the walls. And Ian McGregor's like, are you kidding me? Like, if I don't stand close to the walls, I'm going to die. And so he kind of moves away, and that's when the RPG hits, and he's just like, "Oh, that's why I don't stand close to the walls." Like, it was a really good scene. So for all of these great actors, and maybe it's the subject matter, probably, because in war films you just don't see a lot of female a lot of actresses. And if you look at the IMDb, there's like literally no actresses in the top cast. I can't think of any real role played by an actress in this one, and I think it's probably due to the subject matter.
I mean,
But I wonder,
1993,
yeah,
you know,
war film
military wouldn't have had a whole lot of female
operators, yeah,
operators. Yeah.
yeah. No, that's absolutely true.
So
And
like if
so,
it's based on real life, it's based a book that's based on real life, it's based on that book. The characters in it aren't, that'd be really artificial for them to try to find someone to inject in.
yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to point that out. Like, it's very interesting case, and um, yeah, I appreciate them sticking to the what do you call it, the book, as much as they did. It's been a long time since I read the book. I didn't have the chance to reread it before watching the film. This would be another good one for our genre, the movies based on books too.
Mm-hmm.
But I did read it back in high school, and I only remember bits and pieces of it, honestly. So.
But yeah, I mean, this one thing with this movie that I really liked is, boy, you can't really sit still for a minute. It is totally action packed. I felt like I was glued to the screen like all the time, which was amazing. Which I love it. This movie, I don't know, I'm not always, I don't always gravitate very often to a hardcore war movie, even though they are very action packed, and I do like a lot of action movies. But this one I did like a lot, actually.
Well, the subject matter in war movies is generally is heavy. I mean, tends to be heavy, because they focus on a lot of the war movies don't just focus on, oh, here's the action that happened. It's the human cost involved with it. You think of something like The Hurt Locker,
Mm-hmm.
and how heavy a film that is. I mean, that's a military action film, but that is a heavy film to watch.
Oh yeah,
in my
without
opinion.
a doubt.
Jarhead is kind of the same way. That one's a little more interesting. But then you get Full Metal Jacket. That's, I mean, that's brutal to watch and sit through. So I don't know. It's hard to find films like this one where they focus on the human aspect for sure, especially the lives lost, and the pilots' lives lost, and the snipers that came down. And they focus on that, but it does feel like they did spend a lot of time on the. I think they had a good mix, I guess is the point I'm trying to make, of the action sequences and showing like how the whole skirmish was playing out, and then zooming in on the people and
On the
how
human
they're
part of
on
it.
the human part of it. So I think it was a really good mix. Is the point I'm trying to make.
No, I heavily agree with you. It kind of does have that kind of ebb and flow, and I mean, there was even a part like there at the very end. I kind of teared up a little bit. I mean, to be honest with you, when all these guys are, especially the anguish that was it Sergeant Smith or whatever at the very end, where they're trying to save his life, and just I mean, it just happened a couple times where I just kind of got a little bit misty eyed, a little bit, just kind of like, and it was more of just because the intensity of the scene, the intensity of the feelings that were going on within that scene, because I've thought a lot about my own struggles, and how I feel about my own struggles, and then to kind of like almost like map that upon what they're going through, even though I've never gone through something like that, but just to try to make that connection a little bit. And it just hits that part of me, that sensitivity part of me, because of the struggle that they go through, and I don't know. Yeah, that's the best I can explain it. But it really hit me hard, and I've heard stories, my dad's a Vietnam vet, and he's told me stories about some pretty awful stuff. And, I just can't imagine going through those kinds of things myself. and having to live through that, live with that, for the rest of your life, like my dad has, and many other vets out there. And you're right. That's why I have a tendency not to maybe migrate towards intense war movies like this, because of those reasons, because of how sensitive of material it is, and how hard it is to watch people suffering. I mean, war is hell, man, in so many ways, and just the part of how much people suffer on both sides. Um, that's hard to watch sometimes. And I was watching. I remember seeing at the end that, we lost what in that one, like 19 people or something like that, and they were saying that Somalis lost somewhere around 1,000 people. I mean, that's crazy. It also made me think about, like, why they were so angry at the Americans being there, and I started trying to think about it from their point of view.
Well, yeah, and then I think the movie obviously washes it to put America in the best light possible. It's like, hey, we're coming in to fix the situation, and so
Does it?
Well, and I was going to kind of disagree a little bit with that.
Okay, I think there's a good discussion here, because to get all of the military equipment that they had to use for the movie, of course, they had to get approval from
the military.
From the military to actually, to do the movie. They had to get approved as far as that goes. So, because the government's not going to want anything that makes them look really bad. But it's interesting how the story kind of puts some stuff in there. Things like, our soldiers aren't doing. They're taking protection now. They think they're going to be in and out in 30 minutes. Kind of the hubris of it, and and of course they're hiding it behind that. Well, the Delta isn't doing that. Delta is keeping all this stuff on. So you have all those scenes set up where the Rangers are half-assing it, and the Delta are doing everything by the book or whatever, or smart stuff, because they're going into a war zone, right? And then you have the general at the end having to beg UN to come in and save, and the UN's going, you didn't tell us you were going to do this, so we weren't there. So it's interesting, like, to think of it from like a critique standpoint of the people that were there, yet couched maybe not cleverly, but like kind of subtly within this, it's still, as far as body count, I guess the Americans won on that part of it. But it's kind of a hollow victory when it comes down to it, because it seems like the entire idea was hubris. The movie makes it out to be not smart, not a good idea to do it.
Well, they even point out, hey, we'll be back in 30 minutes or something.
Exactly.
Like, you don't need to take water.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Take out your body armor. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess I was focusing more on the broader situation of, warlord hoarding food, and so they're coming in to save it, to save that situation. And in that broad stroke, I think they painted themselves as the absolute good guy. But then you're absolutely right. I think they do a good job of couching the subtlety of, we kind of screwed up here.
Kind of. I would say they absolutely screwed up.
Well, I was going to say, effed up, but then I remembered I probably should be careful about, I need to censor myself sometimes. So, but yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right with regards to that. And it's interesting, like you said. I mean, the military had to have buy-off in this film, so they had to approve it. And I just keep thinking back to those censors in Good Morning Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Those two twins, and that's what I imagine when I imagine the army censors going through films and saying, "Nope, you can't say that, you can't do that." I just imagine those two guys in the background, redacting things. And so it's interesting how much they did allow in the film to be out there, I guess.
Yeah, but I remember I was early college age when this came out, and there were a lot of people in my peer group who this just got them all, like, let's go play Call of Duty. I'm going to sign up for the military. Its subtleness was lost on young men. Let's just say
that's true.
Really?
Yes. I mean, just how cool Bana looked, and how cool the operators were, and how, even when it was out of control, it was in control, sort of, and the two snipers that went down, which one of them is, isn't that the guy who's plays Jaime Lannister? What's
Who's
his
Jaime
name?
Lannister?
From Game of Thrones. I had to look that up because I think it is. I think one of the snipers was that guy that went down to the helicopter with the second helicopter went down.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'll look it up. But regardless, like, yeah, it was it was very much a probably a pretty good recruiting year when that came out. You would think it wouldn't be, but it totally was.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, so how do I guess the looking at this as in that kind of light, how does this film compare to something like Act of Valor? I'm assuming both of you have seen Act of Valor.
I'm sorry, I haven't.
Remind me.
Well, it's a very heavy military film. It follows a close knit squad where they go stop an international arms dealer, basically, and then one of them dies at the end by jumping on a grenade.
I feel like I've seen movies like it, but
yeah, it was very formulaic. It was very formulaic.
You described the subplot in like the first Avenger. So.
I mean, like I said, it was very formulaic and very preachy and very recruiting.
Yeah, I don't remember Active. Was that the one where they actually used like real operators?
Yes.
In the movie?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that. It did have some very cool.
Had some really cool scenes.
Oh yeah, so
like the stuff, one in the jungle with
the
PT
ambush
boat.
In the jungle. That was great.
Oh man, they had some amazing shots.
Yeah, and you know, definitely iconic for that part. But I could not tell you what the plot of the film was.
I'm trying to remember it, but it's so generic. Like it just hurts.
I mean, yeah.
I remember hearing about it now that you explained it, but I never saw
it. The plot was literally, how can we show these guys to be the most badass group as possible? And that's what the plot was.
Yeah, it was a recruitment film.
It was a recruitment film.
It's Top Gun all over again.
Yeah, that's very true. Both.
Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick. No.
I haven't finished Maverick. I'm halfway through Maverick. I need to finish it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I started watching it on the plane, or on a plane ride, and I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it.
It's a fun movie.
It is.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's not nearly as heavy as like a Black Hawk Down or.
No, thank goodness. It's definitely fun. Locker. It's definitely military with a little bit more fun, a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not meant to be Hurt Locker.
Or Restrepo, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think many movies are supposed to be like those movies.
Yeah,
that's why they're memorable.
Yeah, I'd forgotten a little bit about Restrepo, but holy cow, that film was even heavier than
I've never seen that one, but I have seen Hurt Locker, and it is such a heavy movie, but it is absolutely enjoyable. It was a hard watch, but I was glad I watched it and enjoyed all about it. But anyway,
yeah, and I'm glad I watched Black Hawk Down. I was entertained. I enjoyed the film. I wouldn't call it a cinematic masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they did a pretty good job. They had some really cool shots, some really good, cool set pieces.
I mean, what do you expect? It's Ridley Scott, dude. I mean, like, it's going to look good coming from Ridley.
Not just look good, though. He uses the camera well. Yeah, he uses slow-mo well. He uses explosions well. Like it's almost the opposite. Like it's like if Michael Bay had restraint,
which we know he doesn't.
Right? Like it's just
that's a good way of putting it. Oh, you need to make that the tagline for this episode, Josh.
If
Black Hawk Down, if Michael Bay had restraint.
I love it. Actually, I love it. I'm putting him in the notes right now.
All right. It's just I like the way he uses, like he always uses his camera really well, like to tell the story and to tell the emotion and slow things down for the audience when they need to be and ramp it up when it needs to be. His pacing is just really, really good in almost all of his movies. You know.
Yeah,
he's just a master at that.
He really is. Sometimes
it's a 2-hour movie.
Maybe the script doesn't always come across like super great in some of his movies. You know, not all of his scripts are 100% solid, but you come down to the directing of them. You come down to the way that it's put together, the cinematography of it, all of that stuff. I mean, he is a fantastic director in every way. And I mean, you look at Gladiator. I can name movie after movie that he has just did a masterful job at.
I mean, the people he pulls together to make these movies, they work really well together.
The synergy.
You think of Alien, the original Alien, which everybody who's probably listened to this podcast, all of our 101, subscribers, have, know that I love Alien, but that is just took a cast of and it only had a few people that were known in it, and just did an amazing job with it. And it's one of the, one of my favorite movies of all time. And that just shows, him, what he can do with any kind of element, whether it be sci-fi, whether it be war. He takes every genre that he kind of goes after and does a fantastic job with it.
Well, it's visual storytelling using all of the visual medium.
Yeah.
Like a David Fincher would block off the camera and then have the actors perform the scene, thousands of times to get the perfect nuance, and then maybe move the camera, and then, still move the camera with purpose. And Fincher is one of my favorite directors, so I'm not trying to throw shade necessarily, but the way Ridley Scott uses, just tells a story using that visual medium, it's just on another level.
Yeah, I highly agree with that. And that's the kind of storytelling, that he does with the camera that keeps you sucked in, that keeps you wanting to see more. And I feel like with Black Hawk Down, he definitely does a great job in making me want to know what the next scene is, really making me want to care about a lot of these characters. And, and this could be a movie, honestly, where people could get so lost. I mean,
this could be a horrible movie. It could be hard to follow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with that. Like, how many characters are we dealing with? And how many movies have we seen where there's more than a couple of central characters, Yep. And how many times is it just a muddy, mucky mess that you have no idea what the hell is going on?
Yep.
And yet this one, I knew what the hell was going on. I knew about every person that was going on, and I was following it.
The amount of planning done to get the shots the way they want it, and then the amount of editing done to tell a cohesive story with that many different sections of the battle happening at the same time.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about, like, okay, you watch a lot of movies. I literally thought about this during the movie, about once I found out it was Ridley and kind of got thinking about this. When you're a director and you have like scenes that kind of like, lots of things going on with bullets and explosions and guns, how hard would it be to just keep track of that movie, of what's going on, of how to plan it going forward? Because you've got to film a scene, you got to film a scene. If how they do it out of order and stuff like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how do you plan that, Yeah,
well,
how do you plan that in a war movie and keep the continuity there? And I mean, it blows my mind, man.
Well, think of every project you've been a part of, at work or something like that. And it's like,
Sure.
We have a goal and we're going to try to get to it. And it's like, the reason why we celebrate the people that can really sit down and plan out how to do the process and kind of guide the process towards the end, because they have a vision for what the end is supposed to be. That's your great directors. That's their job, is to guide the rest of the expert team towards an end goal.
Okay, fair. And when they talk about visionary directors, I mean, most of these guys, that's one of the reasons I can see that they're visionary.
Yeah.
In the sense that they've got
to have something in your head. Yeah, you got to have something in your head before you start filming.
Look, a lot of people can say something about James Cameron, but I think he's one of these. Like, he has
Sure.
a vision.
Yeah.
He has made some of the, just epic
this
movies.
has nothing to do with, there's a reason why we separate script writing from directing. That's the reason why we separate acting from directing. It's a different skill set, and you can be a great director and have a really either crappy actors or crappy script or crappy combination of the other ones. And sometimes you can pull out something in the editing booth that during filming you had no idea if it was going to work out. And sometimes Star Wars. Yeah. Or sometimes you can, you can direct everybody. You take the script writing, adjust it the way you need it to get the end goal that you want.
Or then you have something that happened to like Luc Besson in his movie. That one movie where he wrote it, something in 1,000 Worlds. Why can't I think of it right now? And
Valerian.
It's Valerian, and had a cool idea. and just the actors, and I mean, so many things didn't come together, even though it was kind of a cool vision. If it could have been pulled together, there's
Yeah,
things like that too.
it's
And I'm
it's
talking
why
about the Fifth
yeah
Element guy, I love that movie so much. But yeah,
yeah
but that just
that's
shows you how, sometimes a plan does not come together.
yeah, it doesn't. I mean, that's the skill set is of a director is basically project management. I mean, at it's way more complex than that, but like at a base level, it's project management.
And some good people are good at it and some people are not. I've definitely found that out over the years.
Yep.
And some people are good at carrying out people's project management stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Is like it's not just that the directors are good at their job; they also attract the right talent that want to work with them.
Mm-hmm. And I know his teams, like a lot of the people that work with Ridley, are people who have worked with him for a lot of years.
I mean, that makes
Because he
sense.
trusts them.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
I know that happens a lot with other directors. They find people that they really like and they move forward with it. I mean, you could name quite a few probably different people that, you see the same actors over and over and over again in their movies.
Yep.
Exactly. And there's a good reason for that.
Same director of photography, usually similar or same editor. Yeah.
The Wachowskis did it. I can think of Ron Howard does that all the time. I know James Cameron does. Ridley Scott. I mean, a lot of these big directors.
Nolan Ryan. Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. Oh my goodness! How many people can we
some
name?
Baseball there.
Yeah, you did. But with Christopher Nolan, like how many actors does he use over and over again? Because he's amazing.
The actors is just
Quentin
the most
Tarantino,
obvious. Yeah.
Is another person that does that a lot.
Well, I think the actors is just the most obvious to us, the audience. But if you start looking at like who on the crew is shared between these famous directors' movies, you'll see the same names over and over again.
Yes, you will.
And that's I think is the important point I was trying to make, is that it's not just the actors, it's not just the script and stuff like that. It's like the people that actually execute the director's vision, on the ground floor. The same special effects people, the same grips and everything else like that. It's like it's interesting to see people kind of collect a family around a director and make it work.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's these people that you're speaking of that you don't see unless you don't read the credits. And yet they're pulling off these, masterful works that we love and we enjoy.
Yeah. And like I said, the famous directors like Ridley Scott, they're famous because they're able to manage the project of bringing the movie to fruition with some type of cohesive vision that actually makes something that would be very hard, like this ensemble cast, and this mini storied approach to basically a single day, and make it work, make it followable.
Yeah. Did they rip off 24 on this? I mean, I'm just joking. Because it kind of is like it is a whole day's worth of action, minute, hour by hour kind of.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comparing 24 is worse at this than this movie, because 24 makes like literal stop segments between sections so that you can reset the audience. It's a fine way of doing it, but it's so like this is more masterfully done.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because you don't need that. You just basically need a setting shot, and then you can go into the next story.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
and I think some of my favorite parts was where it kind of went into the next story, the nighttime. That night scene. Oh my goodness, that was an awesome scene. That night scene where the helicopter comes over the Somali crowd. Oh my goodness, that was pretty cool. But there was a lot of really neat scenes in that movie. A lot of, I guess, neat scenes of war that still sucks. Yeah. Anyway. Anyways, anything else anybody wants to bring up? I feel like we're kind of winding down a little bit on what everybody kind of wanted to say.
I'm good.
You said your piece, John? Okay.
I have said my piece, yep.
Well, that's good. Let's go to reviews then. Ratings. I'll give mine first. I rated this an 8 out of 10 RPGs. I just really like this movie. I do own it. And I really like this movie for a lot of the reasons that we already have stated. That I liked the way that director did it. It kept my attention. I thought the acting was really great and really well. The story was very cohesive and put together. Don't get me wrong. There's flaws there, but I thought it was just really well put together overall. So that's why I gave it an 8. Who wants to go next?
I'd probably watch this with my mom. I don't know that she'd really enjoy it. It's not really her style, but I'd
She
watch
doesn't
it.
like war movies.
Yeah, not particularly.
Okay, fair enough.
All
Fair
right.
enough.
And I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a enjoyable movie. It was fun to watch. I don't mind rewatching it too. So
Especially
That's a kind of
that's just, which is a big thing to say considering it's 2 hours long.
yeah. So I think that pacing is perfect for what they're
Yep.
trying to do.
It doesn't feel like 2 hours long, and I think that's the reason why it's rewatchable. Which is one of the reasons I also gave it an 8. Right close to you, Crit, because of the.
Mhm.
I wasn't bored. I mean, that's one thing that kind of I always, if I feel like I'm getting bored, that always makes me take it down a point or two, and I can't say that about this. So, all right. Let's go then after the ratings. Let's go to next week's selections, which is given to us by Crit, and then we will talk about next month's genre. All right, so Crit,
Perfect.
take it away, buddy.
All right. So number 1, Ruined Pants, but what a night. Number 2, Required Watching if you work in IT.
Oh, dang.
And number 3,
We don't even have to go to number 3 now.
number 3, the worst Star Trek movie.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on! You had to go Star Trek here.
I'm going
Dang
IT, man.
Yeah, I'll lean on IT as
We're
well.
both we're all IT.
Okay. All right.
But he really tempted me with a Star Trek one, dude.
I
Well,
tried.
you can go watch it on your own after he reveals it.
Oh, I will. I will.
All right. So
What'd you suck us
Uh,
into, Crit?
number 1, Ruined Pants, but what a night. Superbad, which is the
Oh.
early appearance
yeah.
of Emma Stone.
Oh, wasn't that Jonah Hill
Oh.
too?
True. Yes, but
I
Emma
don't
Stone
think he was
was,
as
yeah.
new as Emma Stone was.
yeah. And number 3, the worst Star Trek movie, Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh.
I was very quiet earlier when you were talking about it.
That
For
is
being an
freaking-
early appearance of Tom Hardy. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. I didn't even know who Tom Hardy was when he was the main villain.
You know what? I didn't either.
Yeah.
I later when I saw him in Batman, I went, "Oh crap, that's the." Anyway, yeah, it's that guy. And I actually had to watch a TV show to tell me that was Tom Hardy in Star Trek.
Right.
All right, what did we pick? That
And
wasn't
your
Star Trek
pick,
Nemesis.
number 2, required watching if you work in IT. It is Hackers.
I knew you were gonna do
Hey.
Hackers. Oh, yes, I love Hackers.
That's
Oh,
a
I
good
love
one,
it.
too.
I cannot wait to watch Hackers.
That one is so good.
There are so many like early people in that movie. I mean, Angelina Jolie, Johnny, what's the main guy's name?
Miller.
I don't
Johnny Miller.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew Lillard. I mean, oh my goodness, dude.
Mm-hmm.
All
I can't wait to watch this.
Let's be
Woo!
good.
Sweet.
All right,
I told you I like my picks this week.
dude, you have good picks this week. Oh my goodness. All right, Hackers it is. I won't even forget that one. I love Hackers. Okay. And now on to the genre. And this came to me because of something
In a
I watched.
dream.
I watched something this week, and I really this genre came to me in watching this movie. And the genre that we're going to be going with this next month is movies that take place underwater or mostly underwater.
Okay.
That's what the picks are. That's what came to me last second, and I thought, okay, that's a little challenging. It's not as challenging as you think. It's not.
So we're gonna watch Under Siege again.
Oh my goodness.
I was just thinking The Abyss.
Yeah, there's
That's
a lot
what
of
it-
movies. Yeah.
There's actually quite a few movies. I bought The Abyss this week from the local movie store because I have actually been wanting it for a long time and never bought it. And then I
Very
saw
cool.
it finally. It's hard to get your hands on it, even in a used copy. And I finally got it in the special edition that I wanted. So
Very cool.
anyways, yeah. Anyways, that's what our topic is for next month. And I guess I will be the first one to bring it to us on the next podcast.
Oh, I wonder if I can. Eric loves hackers, so I wonder if I can get him on. as a
Oh, I'd
guest.
love to have.
Yeah.
It'd be wonderful to have Eric.
Just make
in
sure
it.
he pays the guest fee.
What's the guest fee?
Don't you have to bring a roll
we
of
could make
toilet
it like
paper?
$10.
Okay.
We can use it to buy a pizza for us.
Either that or like Scrubs does. If you come and visit, you have to bring a roll of toilet paper. So
Both of those things. I like
I
that.
don't know how that's gonna work. Virtual toilet paper.
oh, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Well, guys, it's been awesome. Loved watching this movie with you guys and talking about it. And to everybody out there listening, we thank you for your support. Thank you for listening to us, all of our 101 subscribers. It's taken us forever to get to 101, but we're still going up, and we appreciate you. And to everybody out there, may you be excellent to each other and live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House Nerd. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.